But Gracie, so it's inspiring for you being surrounded by.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing me sitting here.
More experienced
Anyway.
riders, but what is it that inspires you the most?
I think for me, it's not really cliche, but honestly my mum, because she does like everything for me. I'm only 16 and this is a lot to be travelling all around the country, eventing with the horses. I've got a young pony as well who I'm producing. I'm at school still, I have homework and I still have got a social life I've got to like maintain.
Yeah.
So it can be quite tricky, but to have my mum there, she's always there for me, she's so supportive. And like whenever I need advice, I always go to her. Even if it's something like maybe she might not know, she's always like there to offer me that help.
No, I can assure you, it gets worse.
Yeah.
It gets worse because my mum, she gets spoken to most days, and it's normally asking her some question.
I'm sure it will. Sorry, mum.
No, mums are a big support.
Yeah,
So,
she's
no,
lovely.
it's lovely.
Even if we do argue sometimes, that's only normal.
Yeah.
And so, what would be a normal day for you then, Gracie?
Well, a school day is a bit different to a weekend, because a weekend usually I'm just riding the whole day outside the horses doing homework. But then a school day, I get up at, usually if I'm riding in the morning, which I tend to do quite a bit in winter because it's tricky after school, I get up about 6 and I ride, and then I go to school, and then I have a school day, and then I come home and I ride the other one usually, and then I do homework, and then if I've got like other sports like netball, do that as well. Try and fit in seeing my friends, try and like maintain my social life as much as I can. I muck out every day in the morning as well, obviously, because they're my horses. And then at the weekends I do like the full muck out. And then competing as well at the weekends. It's quite busy. I'm always doing something.
How on earth do you manage to fit in? Because you're obviously, your social media, Instagram especially, is really out there.
Yeah.
How do you manage to do that? How do you get the time to be able to create the content? I mean, obviously, I know you can create the content by what you're doing, but being able to put it on there takes time.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky, especially with like creating edits. I have to edit all my videos. I can't just post raw videos the whole time, easy as that would be. I'm kind of just, whenever I'm riding, I always think, how could I be making this into content? And it's quite good with blogging. That's when you like use your camera to make like a video style blog. That's quite helpful, especially when I'm eventing, because it's like a really interesting blog and people can find out like what they could do if they get into eventing. And I always get asked questions like that, so it's nice to show them the other side of eventing, not just like the videos of the horses, behind the scenes almost. But yeah, it can be quite tricky because it's there's a lot going on, and it's like a whole nother layer to riding, thinking of what I can post content wise, and it is tricky to find the time, but I'm making do at the moment.
Do you have other friends that are other equestrian social media friends that are big on Instagram and those sort of things?
I think to start with it was quite tricky because I think that kind of helped me. I was one of the first people to do it and start with vlogging and everything, and obviously we've got some of the older people who do it, who are also quite amateur, like grassroots level, but they have been doing it for a long time, but there was never really anybody who was younger and just like getting into it. And as the world is like moving into a more social media age, with younger people getting it and wanting to like learn how to get into eventing and like horses, nobody was really showing them that. So when I started doing that, more people then started doing it. And I've made some really good friends, like even some of my closest friends who didn't do it before now do it. And I've had days where I've met up with them and we've done stuff together, and it has just been amazing. It's opened up so many opportunities for me with friends and with things like this as well.
So, Tom, inspiring, with Gracie, what kind of advice would you give Gracie for her riding career? What would you say to young people who are trying to make it in their eventing career?
It sounds very cliche, but I just think it's working hard, and I'm a very big believer in learning from your mistakes, and I do think you probably learn more on the bad days than the days it goes well, if I'm honest. I think that's an interesting angle from Instagram. I know you're very good at sharing your bad days as well, and I think it's very easy to go home, well, it's not easy, but with a rosette thinking you've had a great day and not necessarily learning anything. And I think sometimes with my horses and myself, I've learnt more from the mistakes I've made and where I can improve like that.
I agree with that. Over the years of mistakes you may have made on course or run out, and you sort of look back at it and you think, if I had that horse now, because you're always learning.
Absolutely.
Always learning.
And I always feel like if I keep posting, because obviously a lot of my audience is young, they're impressionable, and if I'm always posting the good side to it, then they go out thinking that they're always going to have a good day. And it's not like that. Like I had last year a fall at Stratford Hills as well, at the penultimate fence, in an under 18 class, and I had put so much pressure on myself for that day because I knew like there was everyone watching, people knew me, it's such a local event, and then to fall off at the penultimate fence, he literally just got the wrong stride and I came off the shoulder, and I still posted it and I was like, look, like this is just put it everything into perspective for me, it's not going to go right the whole time.
I think that's one thing I've learned, is I always put a lot of pressure on myself if I was competing at Poplar and the locals, and what do they think and how are the horses going, and you do doubt yourself. You know, if I'm riding the whole time, I'm sort of in a good way criticising myself, oh, I should be doing this, or can I do it in a different way, and you do put a lot of pressure on yourself, and it's trying to blank that at competition and take all the positive thoughts.
I think that takes real practice, though, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I get very nervous, but the more I do, the better I become. But it never goes. I mean, I was watching the beginning of Barrington last year, beginning of cross country day, and Tina Cook was watching. So she was standing behind me watching the first, and she said, "Oh, it never gets any better."
Yeah.
The nerves, and I'm like, brilliant.
That's reassuring.
I think with practice, I think you can train your mind into being in a better place.
And it's nice to see other riders that are the same, because we were at Branham one year and it was that really wet year and everybody was watching the screen all day and I was last to go, so I sort of sat there for a whole day watching like just disasters all day, thinking, oh, do I run, don't I?
Sometimes it's best not to watch too many.
And just listening to everybody else.
I was one of the first ones to go to there. And it's so much easier when you've ridden one already. And then I saw you were the very last to go. And I remember thinking, oh, poor Stacey, that's not ideal having to wait that long.
No, it was a really, really wet day, but he completed, and I was pleased.
How do you guys like cope with the nerves? Because it must be really scary.
I think the more you do it, the more you learn how your nerves work. So I know that I get really nervous, but that actually once I'm on the horse, I'm sort of all right. So I think you just learn to deal with them more and more, don't you? Andrew Nicholson said a really good thing going back to pressure, which I once read, which is pressure is privilege, and I think that's actually so true. And if you just remind yourself of that, so you're feeling pressure because you want to do well, and B, you've got a big audience. Well, it's a privilege to have the audience. So exactly. I think that helps helps you get around it a bit as well.
Know, like what's happening. Like it's not fair if I'm lying to them and hiding things from them. They're the ones that have like allowed this for me to happen. So like as a right, they should be told like what's actually happened. It's not fair for me to hide.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely. It's got to be real life, isn't it?